Boy, today I heard the most, I don't want to say it, a terrible trade rumor out in the market. And hey, I'm sure I'm not the only one that heard this. I'm sure you guys did as well. But despite the fact that there is currently a plenty of actual NFL news to talk about, some still seem to be in offseason mode with the way that they're making up wacky trade ideas inside their head. Now, this seems to be the case for former NFL general manager Ryan Tannenbaum, who shared the following trade idea involving Russell Wilson and the Minnesota Vikings during an episode of ESPN's Get Up on Wednesday. Here's exactly what he said. Unfortunately for Minnesota, history is repeating itself. We go back to 2016, very unfortunate injury. Teddy Bridgewater had a catastrophic injury at practice. Sam Bradford gets traded from the Eagles to the Vikings. So to me, I think it's a win-win here for the Steelers to trade Russell Wilson to Minnesota. I think he's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold, or they certainly could battle it out. Not really sure, okay, how this trade would be a win-win for the Steelers and Vikings. One could argue it would probably be a win for the Pittsburgh Steelers, since they would be moving on from someone in Wilson whose play on the field is, well, continuing to head in the wrong direction. But a win for Minnesota? No, absolutely not. It would definitely not be a win. And I think I echo that same sentiment that all of you guys yeah, all of you guys out there. Basically, when you heard this trade rumor, your first initial thought was no, no, thank you. I don't want Russell Wilson. I've seen enough. Okay, maybe like 5 years ago, Russell Wilson, I'd take that with the Seattle Seahawks when he was on a run or whatever, however long ago it was. Sure, I'll take that one, that version of Russell Wilson. But the past couple seasons, no, thank you, not happening. Now, the Vikings have already done a ton of work this offseason preparing for Darnold to be the team starter, even before McCarthy started to pick up some hype this summer in training camp and the preseason opener. Now, Minnesota isn't going to trade for Russell Wilson into this late in the offseason and expect him to start immediately while attempting to learn the team's complex offense at the same time. The current Steelers quarterback is also one of the most polarizing players in the National Football League. Wherever he goes recently, controversy seems to follow. And that's not something the Vikings should be interested in getting involved in. And I completely agree with that. Okay? Because Russell Wilson was once a pretty good quarterback. Now, you could also argue maybe the type of offense he was in was helping him succeed. The type of players he had was helping him, to succeed. Um, but the last couple of years have really been a roller coaster with Russell Wilson. He's good or he's just straight up trash, garbage. And that's something the Vikings don't need at this point in time. Look, we signed Sam Darnold this offseason when we could have went out and got Russell Wilson. Simple, right? We could have got Russell Wilson on the cheap. But we decided that wasn't a great option on the open market. Sam Darnold is, well, to the Minnesota Vikings, a better option at quarterback. And he's going to be the starter this season. That was always the plan from day one when we signed Sam Darnold. He was going to take over the reins as starting quarterback for our Minnesota Vikings week one and see how far it takes him into the regular season. But that was before J.J. McCarthy got injured, right? And another reason I don't think the Vikings are going to make this trade is because we now have four quarterbacks after the addition of Matt Corral just last week, who's seen some action in week two preseason game. But we have Sam Darnold as our starter. We have Nick Mullins. We have Jaron Hall. We have Matt Corral. There's no reason to go out and start a controversy, another quarterback battle in Minnesota with Russell Wilson and Sam Darnold, because I don't think there's a battle to be had, right? Russell Wilson would come in here. He'd have a week and a half to learn the offense, where Sam Darnold's had an entire offseason, an entire training camp, an entire preseason to really understand this offense and get to, the chemistry built with the wide receivers and the offensive line and stuff like that. It would make absolutely zero sense. And from what I've seen out of Russell Wilson in this preseason, I'd be super mad, very, very upset if the Vikings went out and traded for a quarterback that really doesn't look like he's good anymore. Plain and like, I think it's that simple, right? Russell Wilson's not a good quarterback. Pittsburgh has a problem, okay? They have two bad quarterbacks. Justin Fields could be good because he's still super young and still has a lot of, has a lot of talent if you will, but he doesn't know how to utilize that talent. Nobody knows how to get that talent and put it to good use for Justin Fields. Russell Wilson, on the other hand, don't know what's going on with him. Okay, he absolutely tripped over nothing, right? I mean, he was good with the Seattle Seahawks. He went to the Super Bowl. He's got his ring. And then he goes to Denver, and we've seen how that situation went about, right? Denver got rid of him and took what was it, like an 80-some million dollar dead cap hit, which is a lot of money, just to get rid of him because he wasn't Sean Payton's guy, and he probably, he's just not good. Like, that's all this boils down to. If Minnesota goes out and trades for Russell Wilson, boy, it's going to be tough to watch this season. And I think that goes for every single Minnesota Vikings fan out there. This rumor is complete. It's terrible. And there's a reason Ryan Tannenbaum isn't a general manager at this point in time. There's a reason he's on TV, because he would make these boneheaded decisions like, trading for Russell Wilson if he was the Vikings GM. No, thank you. Stick to the booth, stick to the, the TV, broadcasting, whatever you do. I don't care, but there's a reason he's not a GM. This trade makes no sense. It's not going to happen. Minnesota's got their guy in Sam Darnold, and we're looking towards the future. If you bring in Russell Wilson that says, hey, he's probably going to be here for a couple seasons, I don't want it. No, thank you. I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think about this trade rumor of Russell Wilson potentially going to the Minnesota Vikings? Also, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. Have a great rest of the day, folks, and Skol Vikes.